Hurricane Melissa has torn into Jamaica with a fury unlike anything the island has ever endured. Slamming ashore as a monstrous Category 5 storm, packing 185-mile-per-hour winds, Melissa shredded entire communities within minutes. Roofs were ripped off as if made of paper, concrete walls crumbled like sand, and power lines exploded in blinding sparks as the electrical grid collapsed. Torrential rainfall, more than 20 inches in some areas, triggered violent flash floods that swallowed entire neighborhoods, roads, and farmlands. Along the southern coast, a 15-foot storm surge forced the ocean inland, sweeping away cars, smashing boats into buildings, and sending terrified families scrambling for higher ground in total darkness. Tonight, more than 1 million people are without power. Many can't even call for help. Hospitals and emergency centers, including Black River Hospital in St. Elizabeth, have been damaged, forcing desperate evacuations while the storm was still raging outside. Roads have vanished beneath floodwaters, bridges have collapsed, and entire towns across western and southern Jamaica are now cut off by landslides and raging currents. At least 7 deaths have been confirmed across the Caribbean, but with communications down, the true number could be far higher. This is the strongest hurricane to ever strike Jamaica, fueled by record-warm ocean waters that scientists warn are a sign of a far more dangerous future. And even as the eye moves away, the danger isn't over. Families are trapped, rescuers can't reach them, and the nation stands on the brink of a humanitarian crisis that will take years to recover from. Hurricane Melissa has rewritten Jamaica's history, and the world is only beginning to grasp the scale of this disaster. When Hurricane Melissa made landfall near New Hope on Tuesday afternoon, its destructive power became horrifyingly clear. The eye wall, the most violent part of the storm, cut a deadly path from the southern shores to the northern coast, tearing through St. Elizabeth, Hanover, and Westmoreland with unimaginable force. Winds strong enough to lift cars from the ground ripped through coastal towns while flying debris turned the air into a storm of shrapnel. Ancient trees snapped in half within seconds. Homes built to withstand hurricanes were reduced to rubble. Concrete split apart. Roofs peeled off like tinfoil. And floodwaters forced their way into homes through every crack and doorway. Before the storm's center even reached Kingston, the capital was already paralyzed by power outages, submerged streets, and failing communications, all while Melissa continued to intensify. For millions, the terrifying truth struck all at once. This wasn't just another hurricane. It was the worst natural disaster in living memory. And it had only just begun. As the hurricane pushed inland, relentless rain overwhelmed Jamaica's defenses. Streets turned into raging rivers that swallowed sidewalks, cars, and entire power poles. In St. Elizabeth, Jamaica's agricultural heartland, vast crop fields disappeared beneath swirling brown floodwaters, threatening the nation's food supply for months to come. Families fled as water surged into their homes, rising from ankle-deep to waist-deep in minutes. Some clambered onto rooftops, waving flashlights into the storm, hoping rescuers would spot them before their houses collapsed. Bridges buckled under debris, blocking key roadways. Landslides roared down mountainsides, isolating the Blue Mountains region and trapping rural villages without warning. Along the coast, the sea became a weapon. A 15-foot wall of storm surge crashed inland, hurling boats over seawalls and slamming them into homes, stores, and schools. Those who tried to escape found themselves surrounded, wading through chest-high floodwaters in complete darkness. Emergency crews tried to reach survivors, but the storm's violence made it impossible. Thousands waited in vain, cut off by the chaos. Even now, as floodwaters keep rising, many families remain stranded, trapped on rooftops, unable to communicate, unsure if anyone even knows they're still alive. Jamaica is no longer just enduring a hurricane, the island is drowning. As Hurricane Melissa roared across the country, Jamaica went dark. Power stations failed one by one under the relentless winds. Transformers exploded in eerie blue flashes, briefly lighting up the night before plunging everything back into darkness. By nightfall, over 1 million people, nearly 80% of the island, had lost electricity. Cell towers collapsed, leaving even emergency workers blind to what was happening beyond their own neighborhoods. In regions like Hanover, network connectivity dropped to just 2%, cutting families off from the world. Inside battered homes, people huddled in the dark, listening to the roar of collapsing roofs, the crack of falling trees, and distant cries for help carried by the wind. Parents clutched their children, uncertain if their next move would save them or lead them into greater danger. But rescue wasn't coming. Flooded roads and destroyed bridges left emergency crews helpless. Hospitals struggled to function on backup generators as water poured through shattered windows. Doctors worked by flashlight, treating the injured as supplies dwindled and chaos deepened. Fear became the only constant. No one knew where the storm would strike next, or who was still alive. In this nationwide blackout, 1.5 million Jamaicans are fighting to survive. Families crowd inside dark, flooded homes, rationing water and canned food as they wait for the storm to pass. Shelters are overflowing. More than 15,000 people have packed into schools, churches, and community centers, carrying only what they could grab through the wind and rain. Some arrived barefoot, drenched, clutching their children. Others never made it, forced to climb onto rooftops as floodwaters rose around them. Hospitals are barely holding on, generators running low as rain pours through destroyed ceilings. Nurses work tirelessly, tending to the wounded with what little they have. The sick and elderly, those dependent on machines and medicine, are among the most vulnerable, and help cannot reach them. Yet amid the chaos, moments of courage shine. Neighbors form human chains in the floodwaters to save those who can't swim. University students in Kingston have turned dorms into makeshift shelters, offering blankets, food, and phone chargers. Communities share candles and flashlights like lifelines. But the danger remains too great for major rescues. Each hour feels endless. Each gust of wind, each crashing wave, is a reminder that the night isn't over, and neither is the fight for survival. As the winds finally begin to weaken and Melissa drifts north toward Cuba and the Bahamas, Jamaica is only starting to face the aftermath, a national catastrophe that will reshape the island for generations. International partners are mobilizing. The United States, United Nations, Canada, and Caribbean neighbors are preparing aid shipments and rescue missions. But airports are damaged, ports are flooded, and highways are gone, blocking relief from those who need it most. Officials warn that the damage already amounts to billions, not just to homes and infrastructure, but to Jamaica's very economy. The country's lifeline, its agriculture in St. Elizabeth, is destroyed, threatening food security. Tourism, the backbone of national income, has ground to a halt overnight. Scientists warn that Hurricane Melissa isn't just a tragedy, it's a warning. Warmer seas and intensifying storms are becoming the new reality in a rapidly changing climate. What once seemed unthinkable is now happening before our eyes. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has vowed to rebuild, stronger, smarter, more resilient, but admits recovery will take months, and rebuilding lives will take far longer. For now, survival is the only focus, rescuing the stranded, restoring power, delivering food and clean water, and keeping hospitals running. The world is watching as Jamaica faces one of its darkest hours. Hurricane Melissa may be moving on, but the crisis is far from over. Millions remain without power, without supplies, and without certainty about what tomorrow will bring. In times like this, the world must not look away. The people of Jamaica need help and hope. If this story moved you, share it. Help spread awareness, because awareness saves lives. What do you think? Are storms like Melissa just nature's fury, or a warning of what's coming in a warming world? Are we ready for the next disaster, or still hoping it won't reach us? Share your thoughts below. Your voice matters, and together we can make sure these stories are never forgotten.